Good evening. Welcome back to another episode of What's Your Story? Tonight we are sitting down with the lovely Marguerite Genest. We are so excited to have you sitting in the hot seat tonight.
Thank you.
So we want to learn a little bit more. We know about you currently, but we want to know a little bit more about your upbringing and
Sordid past.
Sordid past, that's it. So once that motorcycle goes by, we can start talking.
Okay.
So welcome to our show.
Thank
We're very
you.
happy that you're here. So we usually do start off talking to whoever our guest is of where you grew up.
Sure. Well, I grew up born and raised in Western Massachusetts in a little town called Wilbraham. It's near Springfield.
Okay.
Some people have heard of it. The home of friendly ice cream.
Whoa.
That's what it's known for.
Wow.
So it's a wonderful, and they have great ice cream. So anyway.
It should be Friendlyville.
Oh, it should. Well, we'll talk to the powers that be. So that's where I was born and raised, went to school there, high school in Springfield, which is near there, but very simple upbringing, French-Canadian family. So I learned how to speak French by listening to aunts and uncles coming over to play bridge.
Oh, nice.
Learned a few little off-color words when they lost the game, but then we learned other things too. So that was kind of interesting. My family, my mother especially, was a mentor for me because she loved to sew and she was very creative, made beautiful gowns. She and her family came from Canada during the Depression years. So they supported their family by sewing beautiful gowns.
Wow.
Yeah. And so she taught me how to sew and made all of my clothes and my two sisters' clothes and gave me the love of creativity. And my father used to love to draw. He was a physician, but in his off time, he would draw pictures. So I learned art from him. So I love to paint, sew, and draw more than I loved going to school.
Oh.
So while the sisters were trying to teach me math and science, I would be doodling and drawing pictures of beautiful gowns and things like that. So.
But you've been able to parlay that into some really exciting things.
Well, it's been really fun. So later on, I ended up having a bridal business where I made custom bridal gowns. My Aunt Bella, who was my mentor with that, used to make beautiful gowns. And then I used to do commission portraits. I showed my art in New England. So yes, that was parlayed into some pretty cool things. But then I developed a love of psychology. So I decided to put the art on hold while I pursued a master's degree in clinical psychology.
Yeah.
And I got that and was able to work in mental health facility doing some therapy there. But then I was offered a full fellowship in educational psychology. So I got my doctorate in educational psychology and ended up working, we're still in Western Massachusetts now, working in a school for children with learning disabilities, mainly dyslexia, ADHD, and autism spectrum disorders, and being their counselor.
Wow.
So that was pretty exciting, I must say, in doing diagnostic testing, interventions. So, but I always continued my love of art. So I was able to design interventions with these populations.
Oh, wow.
Using art.
Art therapy?
Exactly.
Or, yeah.
Therapeutic interventions for things like depression, anxiety, relaxation. But for children with academic learning disabilities and also their mental health issues that come with that, was able to design learning tools, visual tools, mind mapping tools, maps to help them to organize their writing or their thoughts. So it just ended up being such a nice, gratifying combination of psychological interventions, but using my art. And
wow.
Yeah. So it's been a really nice journey to where I am now in Maine. And how I got here was I was recruited to be the lower school academic support coordinator at Berwick Academy.
At Berwick, okay. Yeah.
So I did that for a number of years.
Yeah.
And one of the things I loved the most there was they allowed me to bring social emotional learning curriculum to the academy. So we did counseling. I used my art interventions to help kids with any kind of mental health issues or academic issues, but also bringing social emotional learning and incorporating with that with art too, because I believe that social skills, social emotional learning, conflict resolution, looking someone in the eye when you're talking with them, is as important as academic knowledge for success. So we did a lot of role playing, drawing, using art to draw feelings, faces.
Yeah.
Oh, I see you drew an angry face. Why do you think that person is angry? Oh, really? They were bullied in the schoolyard. What could we do about that to make that better? So conflict resolution using art is really huge.
So a lot of one-on-one, or was it group or combination?
Both.
Both.
It was a
okay.
combination.
Yeah.
So I had groups that I worked with. I taught social emotional learning classes to the middle school kids, which was really fun because we did a lot of role playing. They love to dramatize. So we would not only draw, but we would have them pick the drama of the week. And, somebody left out in the schoolyard or a new kid in school. How do you make that
So
student
you were
feel
using
good?
real examples.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So we would draw them, we would act them out. And it was pretty well received. I was very, very happy about that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Have you thought about writing a book about all of this and how to do this?
I have done more workshops,
Okay.
lecturing,
Yep.
talking about executive functioning and social emotional learning and the connections of those kinds of things. I haven't thought about a book, but it would certainly be an interesting,
Yeah.
right? Using all of those
Examples and
examples. Yeah.
I think about some of the kids that are in the like the youth center up in Portland, and you wonder, just getting that into their programming. Some of these places that have just this, this much of a budget, but that something like that would be,
It's huge.
wouldn't cost a whole lot.
No, it wouldn't. And I do believe there is an organization called Collaboration. I can't remember what it's for. It's CASEL, CASEL.org.
Yeah.
And it's all about social emotional learning. And there are mandates now in public schools and now in private schools to incorporate social
Good.
emotional learning into the curriculum.
That's good.
So hopefully, in the kind of venue that you're talking about, there is some level of social emotional learning. It's so important.
Have you ever had feedback from children that you have, like in Western Mass, that have been in contact with you later on? Or?
Yeah, it's so gratifying.
Oh, wow.
I continue to do consulting,
Yeah.
and I do have a client. I was helping her the other day. We do it, via FaceTime.
Yep.
And she is in high school, and she wrote an essay about someone who has impacted her life and helped her to organize herself, and how she will always, rely on me to help her organize her writing, and has diminished her anxiety about school. It was me.
How wonderful.
Oh my gosh,
Of course
it's
it was you.
wonderful.
You've done that for me. I'm serious.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Well, the feeling is mutual. We've used various modalities to help each other diminish our anxiety. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that is
one
correct.
One of them being, you're allowing me to teach my mandala class here. And that was wonderful. I really appreciated that.
And I hope we can do that again on some level. So Marguerite's talking about an evening that we had. She set the tone with this lovely music. She had all the supplies for us, and I think there were about 10 of us in the room.
Yep.
We were there for 2 hours, and it felt like 2 seconds. So just the way that you set it up, what you taught us, and then afterwards when we went through and looked at what they all, and I have continued to do that at home.
Oh,
so
good.
on some Sunday mornings, I will put my music on, and I will just sit there and try to create a different
Good.
one. So, but it's very very therapeutic. So I appreciate that.
I'm glad to hear you say that because it is therapeutic, it's relaxing, but it's fun too.
It is.
And
Yeah.
I've done this workshop in various places here. And it always starts with people saying, "Oh, I don't know what I can do. I have no artistic background. I'm not an artist. I can't do this." And they always produce the most wonderful,
I bet.
wonderful
Yeah.
designs. And
Yeah.
they surprise themselves.
Yeah.
They don't surprise me. So it's a wonderful thing, and I continue to do that
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So that's another way of incorporating art. We're not doing therapy per se, but oftentimes people will talk about the colors that they use,
Yes.
or their jagged lines, or the pencil pressure, and relate it to something going on in their lives, and it makes them feel good to talk about it.
Yeah.
So we can do that too.
Yeah.
It's great.
And it's you need a protractor.
You
You
can.
need a ruler,
A ruler is good. A compass.
compass. That's what I mean. A
Well, you
compass.
can use a protractor.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
A compass is good, but oftentimes if we're pressed for time, I will have the template already drawn out,
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
don't have to go through that process. Some
Yeah.
people don't really know how to use them, and but they figure it out. It's good.
Yeah.
So it's a learning tool, but it's also very, very relaxing.
Yeah, and to have a little bit of music playing in the background is always,
Yes.
turn off the phone, turn
Yeah.
off the TV, all of that.
Yep.
And I need to do more of that. So I appreciate.
I know, it's so
Yeah,
hard.
yeah.
It really is hard because we live in such a fast-paced world.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that now that I'm retired that I would think that I would have more time, but no.
Well, you do a lot of volunteering.
I love volunteering, especially in Graves Library.
Yes. You also do you also do volunteering for other
I
organizations?
do.
Yeah.
I volunteer for River Tree Arts.
Yes.
I'm on their gallery committee.
Yeah.
And we have a wonderful show coming up, so I'm working hard to make that happen.
Yeah.
And at River Tree also continue to do a little bit of consulting on the side. And I'm a volunteer grandmother. I get to babysit my grandchildren, so I love to do that. That's my favorite volunteer thing
So
to do.
tell us about them. What are their ages?
So I have two who are my sons and daughter-in-law's children. They are 8 and 13.
Oh, wow.
I know. I don't know how that happened, but they are. And then my daughter, who just moved here from New York City about a year ago, has a 5-month-old. And she's, of course, the most beautiful baby in the world.
Well, she kind of is.
Thank you. She's very, very sweet. So I love to spend time with them. That's my favorite thing to do when I am not painting. So I get to paint quite a bit and accept portrait commissions,
Yeah.
which I have just accepted one today. So I'm pretty excited about that.
How do you get those? Is it word of mouth or?
Yeah. Mainly word of mouth, which kind of surprises me because I've done a lot of advertising, and that gets a few customers, but mainly it's word of mouth if customers like what you've done. Also, too, I use social media.
Okay.
I post my things on Instagram
Yeah.
and Facebook, not so much, but sometimes, and have
Yeah.
gotten a few clients that way.
Oh,
So you just never really know where they're going to come from, but it's
Right.
always a really pleasant surprise. And just got a new website up and running.
Oh, great.
So I've got a few things in my shop, so I'm really excited about that.
and that is called something
It's-
something dot something? What
Yes.
is it?
It's MargueriteGenestArt.com.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
See how close you were?
Yes, except for the dot. And so, anyone in your family carry on your creativity?
Well, my sister Eloise is my mentor, and
Okay.
she is an incredibly fabulous artist. She's a little more impressionistic in style than I
Okay.
am, much more of a realist.
Yeah.
But growing up, even as a little girl, I would watch her paint and draw in color and thought, I want to be like that. And I'm not like that, but I work really hard at it. And she's in Western Mass, and boy, we used to, when I lived there, she used to come over and critique my work, and that was always a pleasure for me. So now I send her photographs, and she still does, but she's a very talented artist.
That's great.
Yeah.
So when you have a commission, somebody calls you up and says, I want a portrait of my dog or my cat. How long does that take for you to turn around something like that?
It depends. So it depends on how many figures, how large the canvas size is.
Okay.
So I just completed for Christmas a large canvas, I think it was 24 by 24, of a young woman and her horse in the wintertime.
Yep.
So that, fortunately, the parents gave, it was a surprise for Christmas, and the parents gave me some 3 to 4 months notice, and I needed every bit of that because I do oils.
Yeah.
So when you do a layer of oils, you need a good couple of days to let it dry before you do the next piece of it. So, so because there were 2 figures and it was large, it took me about 3 to 4 months.
Wow.
But a smaller piece would only take me maybe 1 month.
Okay.
If it's just one figure,
Yeah.
maybe a head or something like that, it takes much less time.
What's your favorite? Do you have a favorite to do?
Dogs.
Dogs. Okay.
I love dogs. I love their soulful, adoring, unconditional, loving eyes. I look at them, and it's very hard for me to part with those paintings. They become like my children.
Yeah.
So when the owner comes to pick it up, it's okay here.
And do they send you a picture or, where? That's nice that you know.
I work from a photo,
Yeah.
and the clearer the photo, the better.
Yeah.
I've had to work from blurry photos and just do some guesswork, and it's a little more stressful that way. But the clearer the photo, the better, especially those eyes. I can fudge the fur if I have to, but I need those eyes to be nice and clear.
Yeah.
So that's how I work, and it always works out really well.
Oh, that's great. Well, I've seen some of your work, and it's pretty incredible.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
the hummingbird that you did for us last year for our auction
yes.
was, I think, in battle with somebody that I know. I won't say his name, but we were bidding against each other, and anyway, that was so your birds are.
Thank you.
And I would think on a small. That was a small.
That was a small
piece.
canvas. Yeah. Well, it was hard for me, especially because I do details. I'm a realist, so I just envy people who can take a few brush strokes and capture a beautiful bird or a dog with the mood and what have you. I just can't do it. I need to get every little hair.
Well, I see it. You might be your own critic.
I think we all are. I get very self-critical. I want them to be perfect. But no, the little birds are fun, and I think I'll continue to do a series of those because those are very popular.
Yeah.
Maine birds.
Yes. Yeah.
They're wonderful.
Yeah.
It's made me a bird lover.
I could see somebody doing a whole wall, of those,
sure. Yeah.
especially that size or even a little bigger.
It's a great size
Yeah.
because you can put it anywhere.
Yeah. So now we got another new project for you to work on.
Oh, good.
So I want to flip over to what got you to Kennebunkport. So I know your job, but settling here, and now you have family that has sort of met you here and is now living in the area.
Yes.
And working in the area. So that's pretty exciting.
It is. And the plan, as I said before, was just to get a little summer place here, but fell in love with the area.
Yeah.
When I came, had never been to Kennebunk or the port before, and how can you not fall in love with this? And of course, my little grandson, who was 1 or 2 at the time, so didn't know which I loved more, him or the port. It's kind of equal. But anyway, so that's how I got here.
Yeah.
And the rest is history. But it just stimulates your creative juices if you're an artist to be able to walk the beach at sunset and look at the ripples in the water, or the orange fiery colors, and the ocean always has a different mood. It's never the same twice.
Yeah.
So it's just so appealing. So I feel as an artist, it's such a great place to be. And the artist community here, so supportive.
Yeah.
I mean, I just really respect all of the artists here and their venues. So it's been a real treat being with my family, being in the art community, continuing to be able to consult and do workshops. It's a very rich life here.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, pretty happy.
Now, your son and daughter-in-law own 50 Local?
Mm-hmm. And I moved up here right around the time where they were opening 50 Local. So I got to see it in the works. It's been an interesting work in progress. And I've seen how hard they work and what is entailed in a restaurant business. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And they have a new venture going on?
They do. My daughter-in-law recently opened The Elective with Tyler LaRoche and Matt. I'm sorry, Matt. I can't remember. Uh-oh, I'm in trouble now. But he's dear.
Matt something.com.
There you go. Mary Lou saves the day. Anyway, they're a great threesome, and it's such a, if I can use the term funnest, it's the funnest store. You know,
I have not been there yet. So
treat yourself. There's all kinds of wonderful, fun things to look at. Now they have sandwiches that are ready made.
Oh, that's
Go there at lunch,
great.
grab a sandwich from the cooler.
Yeah.
They have a great wine selection there. So it started off as a venue for private parties. It's a very small restaurant.
Okay.
It's where Cottage Designs used to
Oh,
be.
yes.
It's
Okay.
right there.
Yeah.
So there's a little area where there's a bar and where you can sit and have lunch or rent it for private parties. But on the other side is just fun snacks.
That's great.
It's really, I can't even begin to describe all of the fun things there are in there. So if you haven't been, I think you're in for a treat.
What are their hours?
They started out from 10 to 6:30.
Okay.
But I think because the restaurant business is so stretched to the limit right now, they may have altered their hours. So going to localkennybunk.org, you can see what the hours are for the elective.
I will definitely check that out.
Yeah.
So have you ever had to, they call you up, Mom, can you come over and, flip these?
Oh, I haven't worked in the restaurant.
No?
No. I offered to, but they have not. Fortunately, they have good sense to not have me flipping burgers. Probably a really good idea. However, I've been called for childcare, which is always fun. That's always a fun thing to do. So I do that as much as they need me. I try to make myself available for that. And
well, God bless them and for you, because it does take a lot of people to run a successful business like that.
And especially this summer, as you know, it's been very challenging, and they've risen to the challenge incredibly well.
Yeah, that's great.
So I'm proud of them. They've done a nice job.
And your daughter Betsy, she's helped us out on many occasions with our monthly wine Zoom.
Yes.
So we're hoping to get back to those next month in September, I think.
Yeah. Well, thank you for making that connection with her and Main and Vine. She's really enjoyed working with Lonnie. Yeah. And they've become very good friends. Yeah. And as you know, she's in the process of opening her shop at some point in time, hopefully within the next few months. Yeah. So we're working hard to help her get up and running with that. I've designed her logo, so we've got the logo ready.
Oh, that's great.
We're going to paint the sign eventually, hopefully before the winter sets in.
Gee, and I wonder who she'll ask to do that.
something.com. Which I'm happy to do. So that's going to be up and running. So we've got a full plate up here.
That's great. That's
really great. I'm pretty happy about that. And Betsy has really moved here in the nick of time. As a sommelier, she's in a great community, a wine-loving community, but just really kind and caring people, and she's pretty happy.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So, and thank you for making that connection.
And you talked about this rich life, and you do, but you also have the ability to project that onto us as well. So we always feel so, whenever I'm in your company, it's just
thank you.
Always such a delight. So,
well, the feeling is mutual. Like I said to you when you asked me to do this interview, there's very little I wouldn't do for you and for Graves Library.
Wow, we appreciate
what
that.
An incredible resource you are.
You've helped us out in the book sale. You've helped us out making masks last year.
That's right.
And we're down to our last few. And so it's amazing that that fundraiser came along when it did last summer. And
I was so happy to help out with that. It was just
great.
a trying time for everyone, and the least I could do with the rest of our team who made masks
yeah.
was just to do as many as we could
Yeah.
and make that happen, because I know everyone took a hit during COVID. So whatever we could do to support you, we were glad to do.
Wow.
It was wonderful.
It was great. And
So all we need to do now is figure out when we can get movie night back.
I know. We were talking about that, Mike, weren't we? Not that long ago, probably like an hour ago. So we are trying. We are trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
So,
Well, whatever normalcy we can get,
that's
we
right.
take.
Because
But in
those
the
have been
meantime-
really fun. Those
Oh
have
my
been
gosh,
really
they're
fun.
so
So
fun.
we'll get back up there.
I'm sure we will.
So,
That's great.
so at the end of our interviews, we always have a rapid fire question. So 1-word answers, but they don't have to be. And some of them you might say pass because
Okay.
there's just too many answers.
All right.
So, okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. What is your favorite color?
Red.
Your favorite book?
The Glory and the Dream by William Manchester.
Oh, very good. Favorite vacation spot?
Kennebunkport.
Okay. Favorite restaurant?
Oh, let me see. That would be 50 local.
Favorite cocktail?
Oh,
Or drink?
Manhattan.
Manhattan.
Yes.
Dry or sweet?
Sweet.
Okay.
Thank you, 50 local, for introducing me.
Yeah. What is your favorite thing to do locally? Like if people asked you, they came into the library and you were at the desk.
If someone came to
Yeah.
ask me.
Like
favorite
what
thing
would
to
be
do
your favorite
locally.
suggestion for people?
There are so many things. I have to pass on that one. There's just too numerous. I mean, clearly, dining out, such a great venue.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, when my sister, I know that's more than one
No,
word.
no, that's okay.
When my sister and brother-in-law visit me from Western Mass, their favorite thing to do is to come to the Graves Library bookstore.
Oh, that's right.
That's
I think
right
I have
on
met them here.
You have met them several times. That's their favorite thing to do, and it's one of my favorites too.
Yeah. And there are some pretty cool things.
Oh my gosh,
Things down there.
great selection. You never know what you're going to get.
That's it.
It's a wonderful thing.
That's
I
it.
love that bookstore.
So, and that brings us to our last question. What is
Okay.
your favorite library?
Let me see. It's something.com.
Or .org.
That would be Graves.
Oh,
Hands down.
wow.
Oh my gosh.
We appreciate
I've
that.
been involved with many libraries in my life, but this one has a community feel. Everyone is so supportive of each other, and I love the venues. The one you did 2 Saturdays ago?
Last week, yeah.
Was it last week? The photography exhibit.
Yeah.
How wonderful for everyone involved.
That was pretty
It was
special.
so special.
Yeah.
And I don't know who could pull it off the way you do.
Wow.
It's
There's a
amazing.
lot of help. There's a lot of
I
helping
know.
hands.
You had a lot of helping hands who were just delighted to do that. So that was
Yeah.
pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Congratulations
It really
on that
was.
one.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you for doing this interview.
It was
I'm
fun.
so glad to learn a little bit more about you, and always such a pleasure to be in your company.
Thank you.
So-
Feeling is mutual, and you made this very easy because I was just a little nervous. So thank you for facilitating that. That was
All right,
great.
All right. So we will see you next time on What's Your Story?